Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Friday Night Yoga. And tonight we're going to just ease back into our practice for this tail end of October. And you might need a block handy for doing a supported bridge later in the class. So if you want to pause the video and get one now, you can. And if you're live, I know you've got yours ready and I do too. We'll just pop them out of the way for now, and then we can get started. Just coming to a comfortable standing position. Doesn't matter what your body's doing. Allow it to feel natural in its upright position, and closing your eyes or gazing gently downwards. Take a moment to step away from all of the other things going on in your day. And mentally as well as physically stepping into your yoga space. And noticing if taking that mental step away from those things that perhaps have been on your mind, weighing on your shoulders, whether you already feel a little lighter or the beginnings of easing of tension. Notice how you're feeling today in your physical body. So feelings of sensations, perhaps areas that feel a little tired or tight or uncomfortable. Noting these so that as you practice, you can take care of those areas, taking care not to push or strive or force the body or the breath to do anything it's not ready to do. Notice also one quiet place in the body, quiet, comfortable, and at ease. And then becoming aware of your breath, just noticing your natural breath. What qualities do you observe in your breath? Is it soft, loud, shallow, deep, smooth, perhaps a little catch in the breath? Does the breath feel easy? And then when you're ready, you can bring your palms together at the center of your chest, just lifting the chest a little, maybe settling the shoulders down a touch and bringing your chin towards your chest. Smile to yourself, and in your own time, raise your head, open your eyes and release your hands. So we'll come back to observing our body throughout this class, because for most of us, we've had a little bit of a break from yoga. And so it's useful to come back and see how the body feels as a result of practice. So let's take the feet nice and wide apart, a little softness to the knees, so that you feel the weight of the body across the 2 feet evenly and across the front and the back of the foot evenly. And then when you're ready, you can gently twist from side to side. And as you twist, think about the body rotating around a central line. If you like to think of your spine as that central line, you can. If you like to think of a line through from the crown of the head through to the space equally distant between the 2 feet, then you can think of that. As you twist, allow your head to follow the movement so that you feel that the head is operating as part of the spine. And allow the shoulders to be soft, elbows soft, fingers soft, arms gently wrapping the body and perhaps tapping somewhere. Now, if for any reason you feel dizzy as you do this, you can actually keep your head still in the center and look at one spot ahead of you and just allow your body to rotate. You'll get a little bit of rotation through the head, perhaps, but not too much. And using that technique that ballerinas use, keeping your eyes on one spot to avoid getting dizzy with the twists. As you move, feel the weight of the body change across the soles of the feet and across the 2 feet. Maybe have a sense of easing of tension from the back of the body, those postural muscles that have kept you upright all day. When you're ready, you can begin to pivot on your toes if that suits you. If you prefer to keep your feet still, you can. And again, you can do this with the head facing the front if you need to for a bit of spotting, or with the head moving with the shoulders. Notice if different parts of your body are talking to you now, so reporting in their sensations. And then if you'd like to, you can add a little bend of the knees in the center. So a little plie and twist, bend and twist. And we use this just to warm up some of those larger muscles to give us a little bit of heat for our practice, to prepare them for more action throughout the practice, to get the blood flowing, the heart pumping. And if you'd like to, you can touch your opposite shoulder in front of you and opposite hip behind. Keeping a little firmness in the center of the body. Just to feel that stability and support. And when you're ready, you can let the bounce go, simply pivoting on the toes. And then let your feet come to steadiness and let your body lose its momentum a little at a time until you're back to standing steady in the center. When you come to that steadiness, closing the eyes or gazing gently downwards, observe the effects of your practice. Notice the rate of your heart, your breath, the sensation of warmth or tingling or energy in the body. Maybe warmth in the soles of the feet. Whatever you observe is just right for you. And then in your own time, you can open your eyes and we'll just do a little shoulder rolling. Just a few gentle rolls here. And going the other way as well. And notice if you've got some complaints. So my shoulders always complain the whole time. I spend so much time on my hands and feet. Just noticing where your body is talking to you. And then when you come to center this time, I've just adjusted my posture ever so slightly. If you'd like to do the same, you can. You can shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, and then as slowly as you can, allow them to come down again. Very good. One more time, shrugging all the way up, just holding at the top, and then slowly, slowly releasing down. And then we're going to try that a little bit quicker. So we're going to shrug up to hold and then drop. Shrug up to hold and then drop your shoulders. Let them be really loose and heavy. One more time, shrugging up to hold and drop. Very good. If they need to do a little bit of extra rolling just to loosen anything off, then feel free. Okay, so in the center with your arms nice and soft and shoulders more relaxed, checking that your head is centered over the body just by drawing your chin back a little bit to feel that length down the front of the throat, the sides of the neck feeling very spacious, the back of the neck feeling very long. And we're going to draw the chin towards the chest. So we're not forcing the chin downwards, we're allowing the head to surrender to gravity so that it falls forwards to the point where it naturally gets to. You don't want to go any further than that. So without pushing or striving, just observing that sense of length down the back of the neck. And then if you'd like to, you can roll your right ear towards your right shoulder and your chin back towards your chest and left ear to left shoulder. And chin to chest. Keep moving gently from side to side. It's a slow, steady movement. observing the sensations in the body. So really feeling what you feel as you move. And again here, we avoid pushing or striving or pressing through any resistance in the body. If the body offers resistance, you can meet it and then move away from it. If you would like to, you can make small circles with the head. So just lifting the chin a little from one ear to the, from one shoulder, to the other, without really taking the head back, just a lift. And that doesn't suit everybody, so if you prefer to keep the semicircles going, you can. We'll do one more in this direction. And then circling 3 times if you're circling in the opposite direction. And if you get a lot of crunching or grinding, try to make your movements a little smaller so that you can move within that sensation rather than through it. When you bring your chin to your chest the next time, just bringing the head upright again. Awesome sauce, and giving the shoulders a little bit of a wriggle. Wonderful. So we're going to do a little bit for the hands here as well. So you can start by simply wiggling your fingers, and if you have the sensation, we're just about to come for, we're just about to have Halloween, not come for Halloween. So if you have that sort of hocus pocus type of hand going on, as if you were casting a spell, with lots of nice movements in the wrist as well. And then you can take this movement and turn it into simple wrist circles with your fingers extended. And again, you can make that quite expressive if you'd like to. Who doesn't love a bit of drama on a Friday night? And then the opposite way as well. Very good. And then we're going to allow the arms to come down to the sides and just swing them nicely backwards and forwards, nice and loose. Keeping loose in the shoulders, maybe feeling the sensation of the blood coming into the fingertips, which can be very warming if you've got cold hands. And then just allow the arms to come more to steadiness. We'll do a little bit of spinal limbering now. We're going to focus more on the upper body. And here, make your stance as wide as you need to feel comfortable and stable. And a little softness in the knees will help your spinal movements here. We're going to bring the elbows together in front of the heart and just fold ourselves in around our elbows. So scooping the belly in, drawing the chin towards the chest just a touch, elbows close to the body. And here, breathing out. So letting go of the air as we close down the front of the body. And then as you breathe in, press into the feet, open the chest wide, take the arms far apart and just looking up. Little firmness in the belly muscles here. And as you breathe out, rounding through the spine, drawing the elbows towards each other, curving through the upper back, scooping the belly in. Breathing in, opening, expanding through the front of the body, maybe a touch of firmness in the buttocks as well. And as you breathe out, rounding. So doing this a few times, move with your breath. Perhaps your rhythm of breath is different. So go as steadily and slowly as your breath allows, feeling the sensation of length in the front of the body as you breathe in and open. And lengthen the back of the body as you breathe out and curve. We'll do 2 more. You can use movements like this to really slow your breath down, particularly on days when you're feeling perhaps a touch anxious or worried or something like this that makes the breath very fast. Next time you breathe in, breathing in wide, opening the arms, turning the palms, and just floating the hands down to the side. And then allowing the arms to be loosey-goosey, wriggling the shoulders if they need to. We're going to take a moment here just to stop and feel how the body's feeling. So resting the arms by the side. And simply here, closing your eyes or gazing gently downwards. Observe sensations in the body. Observe if that wriggling has made you feel a bit more comfortable. If your breath is a little bit easier, notice if your breath is perhaps a little slower or deeper. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and we'll take our hands onto our hips for a little bit of hip circling. So with the feet nice and wide, again, a little softness in the knees. And here we're going to try and keep the rest of the body quite still and simply move the hips and the pelvis around. So to do that, we need to use the tummy muscles here to contract, to bring the hips forward, a little touch of effort in the buttocks. And we don't want to let go of those tummy muscles as we take the hips backwards. We just want to feel that stability in the center as we move around. So if you can, I don't know, you might have like a belly dancing sensation of keeping the, like a swan sensation of keeping the upper body. If someone was seeing you from the shoulders up, they wouldn't know what was going on below. So moving around in this way, just notice if you feel different sensations on your different feet as you move, if you can really feel that sense of activating of the muscles as they contract and lengthen to allow your movement as well. After one more in this direction, we're going to go in the opposite direction. Very good. I can't see very many hips on the screen, but I can certainly see that there's some movement going on, which is good. And notice if it's easier to go one way than the other as well, or if it feels unnatural to try and keep the rest of your body quite still as you move. Next time you come all the way to the center, just pausing there and just gently here, tipping backwards and forwards. So sticking the bottom out a little bit and then tucking the tailbone under. Just a little bit of backwards and forwards. Perhaps that feels easier for some people. That's okay. You don't need a huge range of movement here. You just need to move enough to feel that you are moving. Very good. Warming up those areas of the low back, the back of the pelvis that do so much support for us through the day. Then coming to the center, we're just going to straighten the legs for a little moment and give them a shake out, because we've been standing in that sort of crouchy position for a little while. Very good. And then if you've got the opportunity for a chair, you can use a chair, but if you've got a wall, you can use a wall. Coming to some sort of support, you can do this freestanding if you want to, it is perfectly possible. We're going to take our weight onto the leg that's closest to your support, so it doesn't matter which one, and then swing the opposite leg backwards and forwards. So a little touch of firmness in the belly, you'll feel the buttock working on the leg that's moving and the stabilizing leg as well. So just doing a little swinging backwards and forwards, but using the wall for support just means that we're not fighting to balance at the same time. Very good. And then gently let your leg come to finishing its movement. Step onto both feet, feel the difference between the two sides. And I'm going to have to turn this way to do the other leg. So if you want to just go around your support, you can. Taking your weight onto your other foot, a little firmness in the belly, and swinging your leg backwards and forwards. I'm going to see if I'm going to kick that wall behind me or not. You don't have to do much in the way of movement. It doesn't matter how far your leg goes. It's about creating a little bit of traction, I guess, on the hip joint here, and encouraging the muscles that support the movement of the leg to do their job as well. We'll do a few more. And then allowing your leg to come back to the center, stepping onto both feet and observing how that feels in the back of the body, but also how that feels in the legs, how much energy it's created, what your heart rate's doing, what your breath's doing. And then we're going to do something a little bit different with our hips. So standing with your feet nice and wide, a little softness in the knees. We're going to make figure of eights. So we did hip circles before, now we're going to do figure of eights. So taking your left hip forward and out and back, and then the right hip forward and out and back. And we'll go from one side to the other. So keep your snaking hip 8 going, if you can. And notice if it's smooth, if it's clunky. You don't need to make much of a movement. It can just be nice and subtle if that's what suits your hips best. Remembering to keep a little bit of firmness in the belly muscles. You'll feel the muscles down the sides of the body working as well. And you'll have to use those buttocks as well. So that is taking the hip forward, out and back. We're going to go the opposite way as well. So taking the hip back, out and forward. I find this a little bit more awkward to do, but moving in the opposite direction if you can. And don't worry if it takes a few moments to get the coordination right for that. My right foot, or left foot actually, wants to turn out a little bit to make that happen. If yours does too, then that's okay, go with that. Very good. So next time you go to the right, just coming to center, and in the center, just allowing the legs to lengthen a little, shaking out the wrists, maybe shake out your feet a little bit. Excellent. Now we are going to progress to coming to our hands and knees, but not right now. We're going to do a little bit of opening of the shoulders first, so that when we come down onto hands and knees, we feel almost fully limbered and ready, and all of that wriggling and lengthening and mobilizing has been done. So with your feet nice and firmly on the ground, a little softness in your knees, we're going to bend the left elbow, keep the elbow and the hand and the fingers nice and soft, and just taking that elbow in nice big circles. And as you do that, feel that firmness in the center, perhaps a little touch of effort through the buttocks as well. And after a few rounds, when you feel like you've got an idea of that movement, allow the rest of your body to respond, so that the arm is no longer moving on its own. The whole torso is involved, and your head isn't held rigid. You can look at your movement as it happens. And if for any reason that makes you feel dizzy, then of course, keep your eyes on one spot. You can make your movement a little smaller if you prefer, or just stick with the arm circles instead of the whole body. But if you're moving the whole body, notice what happens as your weight changes from one foot to the other. Notice if you find that your arm is suddenly lengthened, soften again. Lovely job. Whenever you're ready, you can change the direction. I like to stop the rest of the movement to make just the arm move as I change direction, just for a few circles before allowing the rest of the body to respond. Very good. You may notice as you move just what's involved in making that movement. That's the interesting thing. That's the conversation we're having with our bodies, is what needs to be active for support? Where do I feel this? Where would I like to go with this movement? We'll do one more in this direction. And allowing your left arm to rest. Notice the difference between the two sides of the body. Give anything a little bit of a wriggle or a shake if it needs it. And then preparing for the opposite side. A little softness in the knees, soft in the right elbow, and really loosen the arm, beginning with just making circles with that elbow, allowing the shoulder to follow that movement. Notice if this side feels better or worse than the other side. Perhaps it feels the same or no discernible difference. And whenever you're ready, you can allow the rest of the body to respond to the movement that you're making. Involve the legs, the chest, the upper back, the sides, the hips. Very good. If you can, allow your head to follow the movement a little so that you don't feel like you're holding your neck in a rigid position. Hard to do when you're looking at a screen, I know. Whenever you're ready, you can move in the opposite direction, maybe starting small or starting big if you would like to. And again, in your own time, allowing the rest of the body to respond to the movement that you're making. And these simple movements that I know we did a lot of last term are really, really good for recruiting muscles in a practical way for the way that we move in real life. So a lot of exercise disciplines move the body in a way that's not natural for movement in real life. This is more of a practical movement. Very good. We'll do one more in this direction. And then resting the right arm down to the side and just taking a moment, wriggling anything that needs wriggling. Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps you just feel that that's exactly what you needed to let go of lots of stress and tension from the rest of your week and give your legs a little bit of a shake. Very good. And then we're going to come now down onto hands and knees. And we are just taking things quite easy tonight. Sorry, from Mitch. Because we're easing back into it. We don't want to ask the body to do too much, even if we've got muscle memory that remembers how to do all of these things. We're just going to take it a little bit easier. So coming down onto hands and knees, and we're going to start with a little bit of cat-cow. So I'm liking having my toes tucked under, but if that doesn't suit you, you can, of course, tuck your toes flat. If you're going to tuck your toes flat, just actively press the tops of your feet down into the ground. And making sure that your hands are in a supportive position. So for me, I prefer that slightly in front of my shoulders because it doesn't strain my wrists quite so much. But if you prefer them directly under the shoulders, go for it. Find your way. And then here, just taking a moment in this tabletop position to really feel like you're pressing the mat away from you. You're creating space underneath the body, lifting in the pelvic floor, lifting in the belly muscles as well. So we're going to do a little breath here, lengthening the back of the neck so you're not dropping the head down. You're perhaps looking at a space just in front of your hands. As you breathe in, lift your pelvic floor. As you breathe out, draw your belly muscles in. And then as you breathe in, with those both contracted, look forward, open your chest, maybe your buttocks lift a little. And as you breathe out, keeping those contractions, curling the spine under, or curling the spine up, tucking the chin under, and then coming back to the center, taking a moment, relaxing everything that's been switched on. And we'll do that again. As you breathe in, lift your pelvic floor. As you breathe out, draw your belly muscles in. As you breathe in, look forward, open your chest. Maybe the tailbone lifts ever so slightly. As you breathe out, round through the spine, draw the chin towards the chest. Just a little press the mat away. And then taking a whole breath to come back to the center. And as you breathe out, relax everything. One more time like this. As you breathe in, lift the pelvic floor. As you breathe out, draw your belly muscles in. As you breathe in, look forward, open your chest. As you breathe out, round through your spine, tuck your chin towards your chest, press into the feet and the hands, and then come back to center. And then here we're just going to take a little bit of a break, so you can walk your hands back towards you. And either, you don't have to sit back onto your heels. I'm really comfortable like this, but if you're not, that handy block that you have, pop it between your heels and pop your bottom down. And I'm going to do that too, because why not? And then here we're going to roll the wrists just a little. Maybe give them a shake out if that's what you prefer. I like to roll my wrists, and even rolling the backs of the hands towards each other. So doing these more, I don't know, precise movements. Maybe that's a better word, precise. And you can go in the opposite direction as well. And if you'd like to, you can place your thumbs into your palms, wrap your fingers around, and roll the wrists there as well. You know how much I like this one. And the other way too. Very good. Super stuff. So we're going to come back to hands and knees again. And this time we're going to move a little bit more dynamically with your cat pose. So finding your own rhythm of breath with your cat pose. When you're ready, you can switch on the pelvic floor and the belly muscles. And then inhale to come forward, looking up, drawing the shoulder blades down, lifting in the tailbone. And as you exhale, scooping the belly in, pressing the mat away with your hands and your feet, and rounding under. So find a rhythm of breath that suits you to breathe in and breathe out as you keep the spine moving. If you can practice that circular rhythm of breath that we sometimes use in our practice, that I know that everybody who's in class currently has done, where there's no pause in the breath, and therefore the movement is nearly continuous. And we'll do 2 more. So it doesn't matter how long or short your breath is, just 2 more. And at the end of your next exhalation, tucking the toes flat and just allowing yourself a little extended child's pose. And as your forehead comes towards the floor, you can reach your fingers ahead of you so that you get a little bit of length underneath the arms. And if your forehead doesn't reach the floor, you can reach for your block again to support it, or fold your arms at the elbows and rest your head on the back of your wrists or back of your hands. Take a couple of deep breaths. Just notice if there's any discomfort in the low back. Sometimes that happens when we try a little bit too hard to do the back bending as opposed to the back rounding. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Notice your breath rate, your heart rate, and any sensations in the body. And then when you're ready, you can come back up onto the hands and knees. And we're going to do a little moving cat. So I really like this practice as well. It's very nice. So as you exhale, so inhale, lifting pelvic floor and belly muscles. As you exhale, just allow the buttocks to come back down to the heels. The forehead can come towards the floor. And then as you inhale, softening the elbows, looking forward, pressing into the feet, maybe taking the chest slightly forward of the hands. And as you exhale, rounding and dropping the buttocks down. Inhaling, a little softness, a little bit more power in the upper body there. Exhaling to round. And again, see if you can make your breath long and continuous. Making sure that your head and neck move as part of the spine, that your belly muscles and pelvic floor are active. They don't need to be locked, just active. Feel the support from both the feet and the hands. And the next time your hips come to your heels, you can untuck your toes and rest in your extended child's pose. Take a couple of deep breaths here. If you need to, like me, wiggle your hands around to loosen off the tension from the wrists, then you can do that too. You can just do that by bending your elbows and giving your wrists a little wriggle, or you may choose to do it in a different way for whatever suits you best. And then from this position, tenting the fingertips of the left hand, just lift the head and chest a little to make room to slide your right hand underneath your left arm. And if you can, taking the left ear towards the floor or the left shoulder towards the floor. If you need to change your child's pose to do that, you can. Or you can use your left arm for a little bit more support. You can bend your left arm at the elbow and place the back of the left hand underneath your head. Or if you prefer, you can just soften that left elbow and rest in this twisted child's pose. Probably quite appropriate for Halloween, twisted child's pose. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And just feeling perhaps a little length across the right shoulder there. When you're ready, you can tent the fingertips of the left hand again, just to lift your left arm, press it into the hand to bring yourself back to center. And in the center, we're going to do a little waving vinyasa. So we're going to reach the hands forward as far as we can, tuck the toes under again, and then round through the spine, keeping the knees on the floor, bringing the hips forward this time as we uncurl into a back bend, a little supported up dog, soft in the elbows, knees on the floor, firm in the belly, the buttocks and the feet into the floor. And then pressing through the hands to round the opposite way to bring the hips down towards the heels, forehead towards the floor. One more like that, pressing off the feet to round through the spine, scooping the belly in, lifting in the pelvic floor. The hips come down first, uncurling into this beautiful back bend with the softness in the elbows, openness across the chest, looking up slightly, and then pressing through the hands, lifting through the belly and moving the hips back to the heels. As you do, untuck the toes, come into your extended child's pose. Take a moment, maybe a deep breath in and out here. Then tenting the fingertips of the right hand, lifting the right arm and the head and the chest so that you can slide the left arm underneath the right arm. Take the left shoulder, left ear to the floor, and then soften the right elbow, perhaps even taking the right hand underneath the head, if that's good for you, if that works for you. I may have muddled my lefts and rights when we did that on the previous slide, so apologies if that's the case. Usually if I think I have, I've definitely done it. So here, in your twisted child's pose to the opposite side, taking a couple of deep breaths. Notice that opportunity for length across the back of the left shoulder. And then after your next exhalation, tenting the fingertips again to give yourself a little bit of space to slide back to the center, reaching the hands as far forward again so that we can do another couple of those waving vinyasas. So tucking the toes under, Pressing off the feet to round through the spine, lifting belly, lifting pelvic floor, bringing the hips forward first as you open the front of the body, lift the chest, draw the shoulders back and down. And then pressing through the hands to round the spine in the opposite direction, using the support of hands and feet, buttocks to heels. One more time, waving forward. The uncurling of the spine, soft in the elbows, soft in the shoulders as well. Open in the chest, firm in belly and buttocks, and rounding to come the opposite way. As your hips come to your heels, just untucking your toes, resting your forehead down to the floor or onto the back of a support for a deep breath in and a deep breath out. When you're ready, you can walk your hands towards you so you come into kneeling again, and just rolling the wrists if they need it. So just a little bit of wrist release here. And the opposite way too. And if you'd like to, you can stretch out the front of the wrist, the sort of inside of the wrist, by drawing the fingers of one hand back towards you as you lengthen through that space that connects the palm of the hand to the inside of the forearm. You don't want to press the elbow rigidly straight here unless you feel that for you it makes the difference. Try to avoid that shoulder creeping up towards your ear. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Bring the palms back together and swap to the other side. And again here, you can do as much or as little as you need for your body, but don't strain or press through any discomfort. There should be no pain in yoga. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then bringing the hands back together and shaking out the wrists. Very good. Shaking out the whole body if you would like to. Okay, so from here we're going to come into downward facing dog. So if you come back to your hands and knees position, and hopefully the wrists feel nice and comfy after that stretch, you can take your feet a comfortable distance apart as well, tuck your toes under. We're going to lift the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles as we've done before, but this time we're going to drop the hips back towards the heels and just see if that weight will peel the knees off the floor. And then keeping this crouched position as much as possible, uncurl your body. So lifting the hips up, lengthening through the legs and the arms, but keeping the knees nice and soft for if this is your first down dog of the day. So if possible, allowing one heel to come towards the mat and then the other in a kind of walking posture, walking the dog. And some people really enjoy letting the knee come across the body. So the knee coming towards the opposite side of the body. So you get a little twist in the hips. I don't like that so much, but if you do, then you can totally go for it. I like to let my shoulders wiggle a little as I walk my dog, so that I feel the weight changing across the hands as it changes across the feet. Whatever you're doing, allow your belly muscles to support you. Tip your tailbone up towards the ceiling to feel that length. And then whenever you're ready, coming to the center and just dropping your knees down to the mat. We're going to come all the way down onto our front. So if you need to make some space by moving the hands forward, you can. Doesn't matter how you get to the floor, as long as it feels stable and supported. And when you come all the way down, make a pillow out of your hands, forehead onto the back of the hands, toes towards each other and heels apart. The toes don't need to be touching, the feet can be quite wide in this position. Just taking a moment to wiggle your hips from side to side, like you were wagging a tail. So you get a little bit of a massage of the front of the pelvis there. and the fronts of the thighs as well. And then bringing your body to stillness. And resting here for a couple of deep breaths. Then when you're ready, you can bring the thighs towards each other and turn the toes so that the tops of the feet can press into the floor, and slide your elbows towards your body so that they are in line with your shoulders and your palms on the floor for Sphinx Pose. Now with Sphinx Pose, if you are not so keen on back bending, if your body doesn't like it so much, you can have your elbows much further in front of you, and that creates much less of a bend in your low back area. But the other thing that you can do is to press the tops of the feet down, press the pubic bone down, and engage the buttock muscles as well as the belly muscles, so that you get a sense of a length in the low back. And that applies to wherever your position is. And here, if you want your elbows a little bit wider, that's okay too. Drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, perhaps looking at the end of your mat, or even straight in front of you, if that is the position that puts your neck in line with your spine. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then very gently allow yourself to come back down. Make a pillow out of your hands, toes towards each other, heels apart. Wiggle the hips from side to side. So from here, we're going to come back to do another downward facing dog. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, come onto hands and knees, and again, do this action of dropping the hips towards the heels, pressing into the toes, just seeing if we can pop the knees off the floor, and from there, extend the legs to be long. Now, if that makes you too far apart for your down dog, feel free to adjust your feet to be close to your hands. But if you can, pressing through your hands so that you move your chest towards your thighs. And if you would like to continue walking, that's fine. Make your down dog comfortable by making any adjustments as needed. You can even bend both knees and wiggle your hips from side to side, like you were wagging your tail, just as we did lying on the floor, which is a lovely wriggle through the sides of the body as well. And then when you're ready, you can bring your feet towards each other. We're going to lift the left leg first. So the left leg will come up behind the body, and then bend the right knee so that you can get a little bit of a bounce on the right knee and your right foot. And then you're going to press off the right foot to bring the left foot forward. So stepping into a lunge, that can be bringing your left foot outside your left hand. And here, keeping the right hand down and then twisting to the left, lifting your left hand up. And hopefully that feels quite nice. Nice little rotation here. And then we're going to bring the left hand down, place both hands firmly on the floor, and step your left foot back into downward facing dog. And if you want to do that via lifting your leg up into the air again, you can. In your downward facing dog, just check your posture, making sure that it's strong in all the places it needs to be, and then lifting your right leg up, bending the left knee to get a little bounce on the knee there, and then pressing off the left foot to bring your right foot forward so that it's outside the right hand, leaving the left hand down, and then twisting to the right by lifting the right hand up. Nice and firm in the belly muscles, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, keeping length in the neck. And then take the right hand down. You're going to soften that left knee again to step back into downward facing dog. We'll do 2 more to each side. So if you would like to make adjustments to move, you can. Lifting the left leg up here, bend the right knee, get a little bounce on that leg, and then step the left foot forward, lift the left arm, twist to the left. And release. Step back into downward facing dog. Take a moment to sort out your down dog, particularly if you get misaligned by moving. And then lift the right leg, bend the left knee, little bounce on the knee, and then step the right foot forward. Lift the right arm, twist to the right. And lower. One more time to each side for anyone who wants to. If you would like to rest, of course you can. Lift the left leg, bend the right knee, bounce, and then step the left foot forward, twist to the left. And release back to downward facing dog. Take a moment. Lift the right leg, bend the left knee, bounce, and step the right foot forward. Lift the right arm, twist to the right. And lower. Come back to downward facing dog. Give yourself a little bit of a paddle. We're going to take the feet nice and wide apart, up onto tiptoes, drop your heels to the right, and then bend and stretch your legs 3 times, keeping the hands nice and firm, feeling that length down the left side of the body. Up onto tiptoes in the center, drop your heels to the left, bend and stretch your legs. Just a squatting dog. Nice and firm in the hands, still scooping in the belly, coming back to the center, and then here, coming down onto the knees. We're going to rest all the way down onto the belly as well. Doesn't matter how you get there. Resting the head on the back of the hands. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Toes towards each other, heels apart, little wriggle from side to side. And notice your heart rate, your breath rate. Notice any sensations in the body that weren't there at the beginning of class. Perhaps you have a sense of warmth, strength, easing. Very good. And when you're ready, we're going to do a little bit of lifting of the lower body. So keeping your forehead down and your upper body quite relaxed into the floor. So we want the upper body to be nice and heavy. You can bring the thighs towards each other. The feet don't have to touch. And just firm the pubic bone downwards by activating the buttock muscles and the belly muscles a little. And then inhaling the left leg up as you press the right foot down, and then release and lower. Inhaling the right leg up as you press the left foot down. Exhaling, release and lower. Let's go side to side. So press down with the right foot, lift the left leg and lower. Press down with the left foot, lift the right leg and lower. Let's do one more to each side, always stabilizing by pressing down the foot that's on the floor. And the other side. Excellent stuff. After 3 to each side, just allow your heels to turn out, toes to turn in, perhaps the feet are a little bit wider. Wiggle the hips from side to side. And here we're also going to do a little crocodile pose. So if this position suits you with your forehead down and you or your head turned to one direction and you feel really comfortable here and you know that the next pose doesn't suit you, you can totally stick with this variation. But if you'd like to try, you can widen the feet, turning the toes out and the insides of the feet towards the floor, the inner thighs towards the floor, the inner knees even towards the floor. And this is called crocodile pose or makrasana, I think, in Sanskrit. So forehead on the back of the hands, or turning your head to one side if it feels more comfy like that. Just taking a couple of deep breaths. This pose is especially good for releasing those sometimes quite challenging emotions, and particularly anger.
and ones that we hold on to, perhaps not always aware of feeling. It's not the only reason to practice the pose, but there we are. Okay, so another couple of deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can very gently bring the legs back together again in whatever way feels good to you. Awesome sauce. So we've done quite a lot for the lower part of the body, and I'd like to do something for the upper part of the body while we're here. So for this, we're going to focus on keeping the feet and the pelvis pressing down and stabilizing, just as we did with the upper body. And we're going to start with the arms down by the sides and the forehead towards the floor. Here, the palms are turned upwards, and you can roll your shoulder blades together and reach your fingers towards your toes without lifting anything like the head or the chest off the floor. Firm the pubic bone into the ground so that you feel the effort in the buttocks and the belly muscles and the legs for support. As you inhale, lift your head, chest, and arms up. Palms are facing up towards the ceiling. And then from here, as you exhale, turn the palms down and reach the arms over the head so you're looking down at your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms back to your sides, turning the palms up, maybe looking forward. Keep that lift in the belly and activation in the buttocks. As you exhale, reach the arms over, but look down so that the back of the neck is long, palms facing down. Inhaling up. And exhaling, looking down, not releasing the head down. Inhaling up. Arms are down by the sides. Exhaling, looking down, arms are over the head. Inhaling, arms to the sides, look up. Exhaling, arms over the head, look down. We'll do one more. Inhaling, arms down by the sides, look up. Exhaling, arms over the head, look down. And then relax. Arms, head, chest, all the way down. Make a pillow out of your hands, toes towards each other, heels apart. A little gentle wiggle of the hips from side to side. Notice your breath rate, your heart rate, and any sensations in the body as the result of your practice. When you're ready, you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders to come back to hands and knees. We're going to come all the way into child's pose again. For this one, you might want the knees a little bit wider. You don't have to. Reaching the hands forward and the forehead towards the floor. And then from here, just taking a breath in the center. And when you're ready, you can walk your hands as far to the left as feels comfortable. Maybe shifting your weight so that your hips come a little more to the right. Again, if your forehead doesn't come to the floor here, just bending your left arm to put your left hand underneath your forehead, or left fist if needed. Take a deep breath in, feeling that length down the side of the body, right side of the body. Deep breath out. One more deep breath in and out here. And then when you're ready, you can walk your hands back to the center. In the center, just spend a moment making sure that your hips are back in the center as well, hands and chest in the center, and then walk your hands to the right as far as feels comfortable. Maybe shift your hips ever so slightly to the left. If you need to, you can bend your right arm and support your forehead with the back of your right hand or fist. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Feeling that length, that space, that opportunity to breathe a little deeper into the left side of the body. When you're ready, gently patting the hands back to the center. And then taking the hands underneath the shoulders, coming up onto hands and knees again. And before we go any further, we're just going to stir ourselves around. So making circles of the hips around the knees.
Or if you want to imagine you've got a pencil from the center of your chest or your belly button, drawing a circle on the floor. Use the hands and the legs for support here. Pressing off the feet to move forwards. And then reversing direction whenever you're ready. And hopefully this movement I find particularly useful for wiggling out any extra effort when there's been a lot of back bending going on. Smashing stuff. When you're ready, you can come to the center and just move your knees more towards each other and come to kneeling upright. Awesome stuff. And here we're going to move into a more lungy position. So step your left foot forward. If you want a little support underneath your knees, then absolutely go for it. So here we don't want this to be super lungy. So you don't want the space between your left heel and your right knee to be very open. So you have to lean forward. Want to keep much more upright if possible. Excuse me. And here you can rest your hands wherever is comfortable. Perhaps it's the hips, perhaps it's the top of the left thigh, or down by the sides, whatever works for you. And we're just going to tuck the tailbone under a little and then release. So tuck the tailbone under and release. Feel a little effort in your belly muscles, but also notice how the front of your right thigh feels as you tuck under and release. I'm going to do 2 more. Tucking under and release. And then tuck under to hold. So tucking under, just feeling that sense of length down the right hip flexor, making sure the rest of the body feels nice and relaxed, apart from where you're using your body for support, and then relax again. Good job. Okay, so without tucking under too much, so without forcing in that direction, I'd like you to press your feet into the floor and press them away from each other. Reach the arms up over the head. Catch hold of the right wrist with the left hand and gently lift the right wrist up and tip over to your left side. So a little gentle side bend to the left. You may find that you automatically recruit the belly muscles and the buttock muscles as well. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Return back to the center. Woo, try not to wobble too much. And release the arms down to the side. You're going to reach the hands forward and take the hips back, maybe coming onto the heel of the left foot. You can slide your foot forward if that makes sense. And just wiggle your hips from side to side. You don't need to have your left leg straight. Just whatever works for you. And then coming back up into the lunge position, coming onto both knees, maybe taking the opportunity to tuck your toes flat. Let's do a couple of cleansing breaths here. So as you breathe in, take the arms out to the side, looking up, reaching up, and as you breathe out, bring your hands down to the center of your chest. Little firmness in the belly and the buttocks, 1 more like that, breathing in and up, breathing out and down. Very good. Stepping forward with the right foot, tucking under the left toes, if that suits your knees. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Hands wherever feels comfortable, and then just gently tucking under and releasing. Like you're scooping your tailbone under and release. We're going to do 4 more of these tuck and release. A little lift in the belly muscles if that's helpful. Pressing the feet into the floor. Very good. I think we've got 1 more, possibly 2 more. If you feel like you need to do an extra one, go for it. And then when you're ready, tucking under and holding and pressing into the floor, feeling that length down the front of the left thigh, particularly at the top of the quadricep perhaps, or in the hip flexor. Maybe you feel it somewhere different. Not forcing, just encouraging that sensation of length. Very good. And gently release. And then holding yourself in a much more neutral position, breathe in as you reach the arms over the head. Catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Lift the left arm up to create length and then bend into the right side. Keeping the hands perhaps a little bit back. If they have to come in front of the body, that's okay. But if you're able to get them over the head, that's great. Pressing into the hands to hold for a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Then coming back to the center, releasing the arms, releasing the hands down, and resting your hips back towards your heel behind you, maybe flexing into the heel in front, and a little wiggle from side to side. If you prefer to do this with your toes untucked, you can. Very good. And then from here, coming back into kneeling, tucking the toes flat, just resting your hips onto your heels or using your block for support. So we're going to make our way now from here onto the back for a little rocking and rolling before relaxation. But you might want to have handy the things that you need for relaxation now. So if you want to have your blanket handy, then that's good. If you want to put socks on and jumpers on, it might be a good time too. Make sure you have some sort of support. So it could be a couple of sturdy books. It might be a yoga or exercise block like this. Could be a piece of wood, whatever suits you. And come to lying down on your back. And just starting with your feet on the floor. Excuse me. About hip width apart, maybe slightly wider. So that you can feel the back of the pelvis relax into the floor. The backs of the arms nice and heavy, the back of the head as well. So we've been in all other kinds of positions this evening. Now we're coming to lying on the back, the supine position, position of surrender. And once your body is comfortable in this position, you can bend your knees into your chest and just give the legs a little bit of a lengthen up towards the ceiling. Perhaps roll the ankles a little touch in each direction. The legs don't need to be straight. They can be as soft in the knees as needed so that you don't feel any strain. And then maybe gently waving the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. You get that sensation of wriggling the thigh bones and the hip sockets. And bending your knees again, which might feel like quite a nice relief. Hands onto your knees are quite far apart, and just rolling the knees in circles. So at the moment we're going circling the knees in the same direction, getting a nice massage across the low back. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction as well. Lovely job. And then taking the knees in opposite directions. So a little circling, I call this rock and roll, where one circles in one direction, one circles in the other, and they do it alternately, so you get a rock and a roll across your back. And we're going to go in the opposite direction as well. By holding onto the knees, we allow the body to be much more rested in this position as we're winding down towards the end of the class. And then when you're ready, you can bring your knees to the center, maybe bring them together and just gently hug them towards you. And if you want to make small movements here with the knees close together, then you can make some rocking movements here. You get the sensation of massage in the back of the body in a different place, depending on the placement of the knees while you do this. And then when you're ready, releasing the feet to come down to the floor one at a time, keeping the knees nice and bent, taking your block and gently encouraging the buttocks to work enough to lift your hips up so you can place your block on its lowest setting underneath your sacrum. And that's the part where your pelvis joins your spine. So if you feel the bony bits in the front of your hips, and take your hands directly around the sides of the body to the back, that's where your block is underneath your body. Whilst we don't mind, whilst it doesn't matter so much if we support the buttocks, You don't want the block to rest into the soft areas at the above the pelvis and the low back. Resting your arms down to the mat with the palms turned upwards, maybe resting slightly away from the body as well. And here, taking a few moments to allow the pelvis to settle, maybe even gently turning your head from side to side. When you're ready, you can bring your head back to center and you can explore some different variations with your feet here. So if you'd like to, you can slide your left leg away from you so that the heel of the left foot's on the floor, maybe even the calf of the left leg is on the floor. And just feel that sensation of length. We just gave that area of the body an opportunity for length with a bit of effort in our lunge position. And now it's a little bit of length without effort in this supported bridge pose. Take a couple of deep breaths. Soften the features of your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, your tongue, your shoulders. Allow the whole body to be heavy and supported. And then very gently, firming the belly muscles just a touch, draw your left toes back up towards the ceiling and slide your left heel in towards the body again. So you feel like you're balanced, you've got a pretty even weight distribution across the pelvis. And observing the difference between the two sides. When you're ready, you can slide your right foot away from you. So the right heel, maybe even the right calf is on the floor. The leg relaxes completely, the toes fall out to the side. And simply continue to breathe deeply, softening, surrendering, allowing that sensation of letting go. When you're ready, you can draw the left toes back upright, firm the belly just a touch. I think it's the right toes. And then slide your foot back in towards you. So now you've done it with each leg individually. And for those who would like to, you can try this with both legs extended, but we don't extend them both at the same time. Just slide one out and then the other. And you can widen the feet quite wide. I've got a really wide mat and I have my feet right to the outside edges of my mat. So if you have a standard narrow mat, then maybe your feet are beyond the edges of your mat. Or finding a comfortable distance for you. Now, if there's any sensation of discomfort in your low back, or if your hip flexors don't like this, or if it just doesn't feel quite right to you, then feel free to practice with the feet closer together or sliding the feet back in to bend the knees and support the pelvis a little more. Whichever position you find, just taking another 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Soften, relax, let go. And when you finish your next exhalation, encouraging the toes to point up towards the ceiling to activate the muscles of support and the belly muscles, sliding one foot in at a time. taking this moment while the feet are resting here and the pelvis is settling back into this shape, to reach your arms wide, cross the right arm over the left arm and let the fingers drape towards the floor, the weight of the arms to rest onto the chest. Feel that sensation of perhaps a little bit of extra length in the back of the neck. Just breathing here to give the shoulders a little bit of a massage, the backs of the shoulders. Whenever you're ready, you can take the arms apart, and we're going to actually come down off our block before we do the arms in the opposite direction. So as subtly as you can, removing that block, allowing the hips to come down to the floor, and then crossing the arms in the opposite direction, left over right this time. Resting the arms onto the chest, taking a couple of deep breaths. When you're ready, you can uncross your arms, just observe any sensations in the body and prepare for relaxation. So if you'd like to, you can place a bolster or similar underneath the backs of the legs. And if you prefer, you can keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor. And if you like, you can extend your legs so that the feet fall nice and wide apart. And the backs of the legs can soften a little after all of that leg bent action. Resting your arms away from your body, finding your most comfortable posture for our relaxation. Take a moment to allow yourself to wriggle or fidget or find yourself that sweet spot. We'll do a little tense and relax through the body, just to help to ease out any residual tension left in the body. So firming the muscles of the right leg, point the right toes, lift the right leg a little off the mat, hold it tense, 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 relax and drop it down. So really allow the whole leg to drop towards the floor. Tense the muscles of the left foot and leg, lift the leg just an inch, maybe a centimeter or two off the mat, hold it tense, 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 relax and drop down. Squeeze the buttocks, lift the hips up a little and drop. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other, lift the chest up a little and drop. Lift both arms off the mat and then make tight fists out of the hands. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, squeezing the shoulders towards the ears, and then press the shoulders down towards the hips. Spread the fingers out, reach them apart, and drop down. Press your low back down into the mat, and at the same time, encourage the whole of the spine to lengthen downwards, even a touch of the back of the neck without lifting your head off the floor. Hold your spine towards the floor for another deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax. Squeeze all the muscles of the face in towards the nose, make a tight lemon sucking face. And then open your eyes, open your mouth, stick out your tongue and exhale. And relax. Let's do that one more time. It's like lion's breath. Squeeze all of the muscles in towards the nose, and eyes open, mouth open, tongue out, exhale. And relax. Close your eyes. Gently roll your head from one side to the other. A couple of times in each direction, easing any tension out of the neck and the shoulders before bringing your head back to center. Making any final adjustments to your posture and bringing your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth as you exhale. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in. Let all your effort go. A deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. A deep breath in and surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to find its natural, spontaneous rhythm, falling into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften, the space between the eyebrows spreading, the area around your eyes relaxing, your mouth, tongue, jaw releasing. Move your awareness to the back of your body. Become aware of the whole of the back of the body. Heavy, warm, supported, releasing down. Feel the backs of the shoulders soften towards the mat. The whole of the back softening down. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air on your face. The movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. The warmth of the blanket over you. The sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Move your awareness to your breathing and gently deepen your breath. Taking a long, slow breath in and a long, slow, steady breath out. Breathing in light, energy, harmony. Breathing out tension, fatigue, discomfort. Breathing in light, energy, harmony. Breathing out tension, fatigue, discomfort. Allow your breath to find a gentle, deep rhythm for the remainder of relaxation. Your body softening and relaxing a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath, bringing your awareness back to your hands and your feet by wiggling your fingers and toes. Maybe rolling your wrists and your ankles. When you feel ready, take a deep breath in and stretch in any way that feels comfortable to you. Maybe yawning, maybe wriggling. And in your own time, gather your knees into your chest and make any movements that feel good with your spine. Perhaps a touch of rocking and rolling, maybe turning the head from side to side. Whatever feels right in this moment. When you're ready, you can roll to one side and just spend a moment curled up on your side. And then when you're ready, keeping your eyes gently closed if you can, come into any comfortable seated position. Bring the palms of the hands together and press them firmly, rub them vigorously. If they don't feel like they're warming up, press them a little firmer, rub them a little faster. And when you have nice warm hands, placing the palms over the eyes, feeling that warmth soften any tension from that area around the eyes. Linking into your palms a few times, releasing your hands down when you're ready to open your eyes. I hope you have enjoyed this session of yoga. I hope your body feels great, and I hope you feel ready for a wonderful night of sleep tonight. Namaste.